everybody, welcome back to the Blockbusters Show. I'm Adam Sykes, and today we're going to be taking a different approach. Instead of reviewing bad movies, we're going to be reviewing bad movie reviews. Basically, I asked people on social media as to a bunch of different type of bad movie reviews that they want me to respond to and give some thoughts on, and so I'm going to be going through a few of those, so let's see what we got. Apparently one of the suggestions I was given was Lights Camera Jackson. I don't really know who this is. I only vaguely know the name because I remember when one of Amy Schumer's movies came out, he took a picture with her on the red carpet, and he had some joke about like, oh, just spent the night with Amy Schumer, not the first guy to say that. And then she responded to that saying that he was like a sexist. Because as we all know, Amy Schumer has never once made some kind of sexual joke, okay? And for all I know, maybe this kid does suck. I mean, a lot of people are saying that his review of Inception is garbage. But I don't know, I kind of don't feel like looking into this one. Another one that people suggested was the Nostalgia Critics review of The Wall by Pink Floyd. I saw it was 50 minutes long, and then I also noticed that a bunch of other people made videos talking about it for like an entire month, so I really feel like I don't need to talk about it. All I know is that apparently this 50-minute video gets an actual like review opinion about the movie it's supposedly talking about out in like the last 3 seconds of the video.
Okay! I liked it fine.
Yeah, me too.
A little full of itself, but good music and imagination.
Fair enough.
So now what?
Who knows, maybe if enough people like this, we'll do a second video where we talk about video movie reviews. But for now, I have a couple of articles down here that I just have to read because some of these are just gold. So the first one comes from legendary movie critic himself, Armand White. Now, if you don't know about Armand White, this man is basically known for being a massive contrarian. Everything that the general public says when it comes to films, he just goes the exact opposite direction. I mean, this guy has gone down saying that Suicide Squad was one of the best superhero movies of last decade. It's one thing to like Suicide Squad. To say that it's the best of anything, that's a little bit of a stretch. Any movie that's like critically praised, he immediately hates. Like The Dark Knight or Inception, or in this case, Toy Story 3. That's the review I have pulled up. But any movie that's like super hated, like DC superhero movies, the Transformer movies by Michael Bay, Happy Madison movies, he is so quick to give them just utter praise. Which is why a lot of the time people speculate this guy is like not even real, that this guy is like just a troll seeking attention. But I mean, this guy has worked for many publications over the years, so I mean, he clearly has some kind of racket where he's able to actually get into legitimate publishers, or at least big name publishers, and get out his reviews to show off his massive contrarianism. So, like I said, this review that I'm going to be going down is his review of Toy Story 3. Toy Story 3 is so besotted with brand names and product placement that it stops being about the innocent pleasures of imagination, the usefulness of toys, and strictly celebrates consumerism. But none of these digital cartoon characters reflect human experience. It's essentially a board game that only the brainwashed will buy into. Besides, Transformers 2 already explored the same plot with greater thrill and opulence. I'm just picturing, like, through his imagination, like, it's the Virgin Chad meme where it's like, Virgin Toy Story 3, Chad Transformers 2. When Toy Story 3 emulates the suspense of Prison Break and horror films, it becomes fitfully amusing, more than can be said for WALL-E or Up. Oh. Now he's going after Up and WALL-E, but Up, I forgot, that was another movie he really hated. But this humor depends on the recognition of worn-out toys, which is no different than these lousy Shrek gags. The Toy Story franchise isn't for children and adults, it's for non-thinking children and adults. When a movie is this formulaic, it's no longer a toy because it does all the work for you. It's a sap story. This is exactly why I picked Armand White to start, because it also kind of spills over into some other reviews we're going to be looking at, but this whole attitude, just like this snobby elitist attitude of like, you know, it's a sap story. Oh, it's for non-thinking children and adults. Like this whole thing of like, he's better than everyone else just because he doesn't like a movie that everyone else likes. It's not just that he doesn't like Toy Story 3. He's allowed to not like it. It's the fact that he takes such umbrage with the fact that people do like it. I also find it very weird that he bashes this movie for celebrating consumerism, and yet he gave a free pass to the Transformers sequels, And there was a whole scene in one of the Transformers sequels that was made to promote Bud Light. There was also a scene in Man of Steel, which he praised, that was dedicated to a bunch of different brand stores being destroyed. So yeah, when those movies have product placement, it's fine. But when this movie has product placement, which isn't really product placement, then it's a problem. Then again, this is the same review that puts Transformers 2 Revenge of the Fallen above Toy Story 3. All right, moving on to the next one. It's also a Toy Story 3 review. It's funny, when I looked up really bad movie reviews, these were the first two to pop up, and they were both for Toy Story 3. So we got one from Armand White, and now we got this one from a guy called Cole Smithy. Okay, so I'm on his website right now. Cole Smithy's tagline is that he's the smartest film critic in the world. As the story goes, human boy Andy, voiced by John Morris, is off to college and must finally put away childish things. Something most boys do before junior high. Talk about Arrested Development. This kid isn't getting any dates. The beginning of Toy Story 3 begins with the toys not being played with. The movie's conflict is not that Andy still plays with toys. The movie's conflict begins with the toys not being played with and them worrying about their fate, about potentially being thrown away. So this whole Arrested Development, this just feels like, I don't even know where the hell that came from. Andy chooses to take his favorite toy, Cowboy Woody, well voiced by Tom Hanks, with him to college, and pack away in the attic the rest of the gang, including Buzz Lightyear, Tim Allen, Cowgirl Jessie, Joan Cusack, his Mr. and Mrs. Potato Head dolls, Don Rickles and Estelle Harris, Andy's careless mom, whose sense of parental responsibility is non-existent, accidentally tosses out the trash bag filled with Woody's pals on the curb. The story delves into a prison escape plot where the toys break character as much as they get their plastic hearts damaged by the cruelty of their treatment by the preschool's other toys. If you're looking for an instructional movie on how to make your kids act like they're bipolar, here you go. What? Wrong-headed and overly mature for young audiences. Toy Story 3 sends some pretty dark messages for the little ones to digest. When I say dark, I mean bordering on sociopathic. A PG rating would have been more appropriate for a film that definitely sends the wrong messages even to kids over 10. I would love to know what this guy's thoughts on the first Incredibles was, because the way he's talking about this, he's like, oh, this movie has too much dark imagery and too many dark themes for a kid to handle. Meanwhile, the first Incredibles was not only a masterpiece, it was arguably Pixar's best movie, but it tackled the serious issue of midlife crisis. An obvious split between the accomplished progression of the first two movies and the inferior final installment in the departure of the enormously talented writer Peter Docter of the franchise. John Lasseter's demotion from director of Toy Story 1 and Toy Story 2 in favor of the writer/director Lee Unkrich, co-director of Finding Nemo, undoubtedly contributes to the lack of cohesion. And as for his final rating, he gives a C+ and 2 stars out of 5. His overlying reason as to why he doesn't like Toy Story 3 is as follows. He says that it's bad because it has too many dark themes, even though they handled it just as well as Pixar handled dark themes in something like, say, Incredibles, which you could argue is even darker than Toy Story 3. He says that because they switched directors and writers, it was not as good. And he also says that the movie focused a lot more on brighter colors and glorious expensiveness. I find it really funny that he harps on that, because I also found out he did a review of Marmaduke, which I also reviewed, and he said that the movie looked good with the budget that it had. Marmaduke looked good with the budget that it had. I don't understand it. Anyway, moving on. Next written review I have is for another Pixar sequel, and it's for Incredibles 2. This is the infamous review of Incredibles 2 on The New Yorker. And, well, I'm just gonna read this excerpt because I feel like this just needs to be read out loud. Take your seat at any early evening screening of Incredibles 2 in the coming days. Listen carefully, and you may just hear the shifty sound of the parents squirming awkwardly beside their enraptured offspring. Because mommy just leaned over to daddy and whispered, "Is it just me, or does Mrs. Incredible look kind of like Anastasia from 50 Shades of Grey? You know, the girl in the red room with the whips and all, and daddy just rested his cooling soda firmly in his lap, and like Mr. Incredible, tried very hard to think of algebra." As for how daddy will react later on, during the scene in which Helen and the husky-voiced Evelyn unwind and simply talk, woman to woman. I hate to think, but watch out for flying popcorn. This was written as a review for a kids movie. And this guy is getting all hot and bothered about a kids movie. Like, yeah, I know, when Incredibles 2 came out, everyone was like, man, Mrs. Incredible's so hot in this movie. But this man literally just got paid to write a review in the New Yorker, simply just as an excuse to simp over this character. Like, I gotta get off of this. I got one more review to read, then we're done. Now, this is for Variety, and it's for a movie I didn't even bother watching. It's for what is this for? The My Little Pony movie. Who even watches My Little Pony, honestly? Who watches My Little Pony? Like, who even watches it? It's just a stupid little girl show. Like, in My Little Pony the movie, the evil satyr Storm King, Liev Schreiber was in that, has enslaved the ponies of Equestria with leather bridles, a look that unmistakably suggests S&M. What the fuck? As the fillies seek to dethrone him, they're hunted by Storm King's minion, Tempest Shadow. Emily Blunt was in that fucking movie? A unicorn with a broken horn that fizzes like a sparkler, who stalks them wearing black rubber. Another punchline has a male character reaching down out of frame and reassuringly patting his crotch. Do I even think I have to see the movie to know that this person is just like pulling shit out of their ass? The last one was a guy getting paid to simp over Elastigirl for his review of Incredibles 2. This was written by a woman. This woman made some kind of weird leap from cutesy cartoon horses for little girls to S&M. I don't even think the Pony Fanboy could make a review of this kind of thing that creepy. Anyways, guys, that concludes the Blockbuster videos for the month. If you want to see more videos like this, feel free to let me know. Like I said, if you guys want me to talk about bad video reviews talking about movies, I'd be interested in doing that. I feel like this would be kind of an interesting on-again, off-again series of videos for Blockbusters. As for now, look forward to October. I'm going to be doing 3 movie reviews then for Blockbuster Show, so yep, definitely look forward to those. Until then, I'm Adam Sykes of the Blockbuster Show, and we will see you guys in the next video. Oh my god, that was something. Holy crap.